mean, I believe wisdom is being able to learn from everybody. I mean, my post today is about being at a hospital when my ex was in the emergency room, and I just felt like the harm of being in there, and then all of a sudden the baby came there. You've heard this story on some of the projects that we've done to it. Then the baby comes in there, and then all of a sudden everybody is like in a happy place because they can't have. We're all actors in a lot of certain ways, so you can't have emergency room face because you can't go into the emergency room. It's like, oh, I'm dying. Whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. You got to come. Or if you want to borrow money, you can't say, oh shit, fuck, it was great. Can I borrow $5 fucking bucks? I want to borrow $5 bucks.
I'm living on my best life. Can I
life
borrow
is
some
fucking
money?
great. That shirt's horrible. That shirt is horrible. Can I borrow $5? No, you got to kind of act as like, funny. Oh, that's a cute necklace. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you're my friend. You're a really good friend. Is it okay if I borrow? I was gonna borrow $50, which would have been rude, but I just need 5. So you kind of got to go into the acting. We're all actors. We learned this as children. We learned how to act to a certain point. So this baby comes in, and then all of a sudden people are smiling because they don't want to put that angry, I'm sick, I'm dying energy towards the baby. So everybody started it was infectious. And then all of a sudden somebody took out some red fine licorice. I was there for 2 fucking hours and that lady was there and she didn't even think of giving me some candy. And then all of a sudden this baby's there for 5 fucking minutes. But I got the best of the baby because that was a multi-million-dollar idea for me. And I stole it from that motherfucking baby. The baby just sold out for the licorice, but I wanted more.
Stay tuned for that story.
That baby's like 20. That baby's like 20 now, so it wasn't you, baby. It was another baby.
That's funny. Yeah. It's hard times, I think, for certain populations of people, and I feel like, there's like a residual effect still happening with the long-standing traumas and unfortunate things that have happened all over the globe, and we're still processing that, and we're still grieving that, and we're still letting that go. But it's just like anything, like we have to release and be willing to move forward in our evolution. It's like, if you are not allowing that natural momentum to happen, then you're keeping yourself in the old version of you. And if there's systems in place that we don't like, well, then let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that we do want to see versus focusing all of our time and attention with being angry and spewing hate with the things that we don't like. I don't disagree that there are people all over the globe that are crossing, national borders that are doing very horrible things, like human trafficking. That's a horrible thing that's happening in the world, including children, and murder, and corruption, and all kinds of really, in the Congo. Do y'all know what's happening in the Congo? There are some really crazy things happening in order for us to live our modern life. And so, if there are things happening in the world that we don't agree with, well, then let's start talking about what we do want to see so that we can all have a hand in creating that. And the very first step, like we've been speaking on, is standing in our sovereign truth, knowing our true inherent power and our ability to be we the people. To really be we the people and practicing what democracy looks like. What does it look like to be free or to have a liberated life? What does that actually look like? And then maybe we can start building that together.
One of the phrases, and a lot of these things, and that's why I allow myself to notice that there's trauma there, so I can heal the trauma. And I think what you're talking about is ultimately you want to get to that point that you don't even have to go through that step. I agree with that 100%.
We're in that progress.
But one of the phrases I came up with, you can exercise your demons. When you exercise it, you're making it bigger, or you can exercise as an exorcism your demons. one makes them bigger, one heals it, because who I go out in the world when I do that, it's a different opinion. So when we do that individually, and then in groups, this is a small group, and then we do it in businesses, because a lot of these things that we're saying, oh, so it's like socialism's good, capitalism's bad, and a lot of different things. It's like it's not a pendulum. It's a skateboard park. Pendulum, because the mind sees things in threes, we simple it. We make it simple like this, because even when you add the third thing to this, it complicates things. But life is like it's a skateboard park. What is a skateboard park? It's nooks and crannies. If you look at the building that you're in or where you are, a fireman's going to look at a building different than a real estate agent's going to look at a building. Somebody that does plumbing at a building is going to look at a building different. When I used to break dance, every room I went into, I used to judge how many times I could spin on my back in that.
That's funny.
And I believe that's a beautiful thing, that collectively, I believe we got this stuff, because we're all able to look at things in different, and I would agree that there are some people in power that don't have the best interests for all us. Can you say it's the white man? Can you say it's I'm not a big friend. I like when she because she's very mindful and balanced. When she says colonialist, it doesn't trigger me. But a lot of times when people use that, or when the last one that we talked about, they're talking about they shot a CEO and people are doing it. It's like there's some really good CEOs that are really doing some things that are changing the world. So it's like we can't just like there's a difference between the CEO that's working at Starbucks or even like a McDonald's opposed to the CEO that's working at United Health.
For sure.
McDonald's is like, okay, they're just kind of doing some toxic stuff and everything like that. It's probably killing people, but a lot of times they're making that choice. But also we have to say, okay, if a lot of these people don't have your best interest, why do we keep on going back to them to solve our problems?
Yep, exactly. Why get that healthcare insurance? Why buy that McDonald's French fry?
For sure. And going back to, I remember a situation, and I'm gonna slow down and try and she's gonna point. And he said it, I didn't say it, but I gave a ride to this guy, and his wife is Native American. He's white. He's a chef, and I was talking to him, and I've had some times when I give Native Americans a ride that have a lot of casino money, and they're blaming the white man for their food. And I'm like thinking, sometimes these guys are making $10,000 a month each. You get 3-4 of them together, even that guy alone, you could create a healthy food place that is aligned with Indigenous like food.
For sure.
To study that and everything. So why are they, and every group does this, so I'm not going on Native Americans, why are they continue blaming the white man? And even the federal government throws a lot of money at Native Americans. Are they getting to the inner core of what happened to them? No. But the research is out there. The evidence is out there. All you have to do is figure out what was done to your race, to your people, 4, 5, 6, 14 generations ago, and just do the opposite.
Yeah, and there are communities out there that are being more, I guess, solution focused, growth focused, and then there are groups that are still stuck in the cycle of their trauma.
For sure.
And they're not able to develop those systems because they're still in the cycles of trauma. Many years ago, when I was doing my grassroots global justice project, a big commitment of mine was to get to know some of the different Native American groups in these, lands of the United States, because I'm not Native American in that sense, and so I wanted to understand like the culture and what they need and things like that. And around the time when I was doing my international psychology PhD program as well, so I was thinking globally, like how can this connect to other Indigenous communities?